Welcome to the Gospel Road. We're going to look at Deuteronomy 30. It says, "And when all these things come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, you can call them to mind among the nations where the Lord your God has driven you. And reach to the Lord your God, you and your children, and obey his voice in all that I command you today, with all your heart, with all your soul. Then the Lord your God will restore your fortunes and have mercy on you, and he will gather you again from all the peoples where the Lord your God has scattered you. If your outcasts are in the utmost parts of heaven, from there the Lord your God will gather you, and from there he will take you. And the Lord your God will bring you into the land that your fathers possessed, that you may possess it, and he will make you more prosperous and numerous than your fathers. And the Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your offspring, so that you will love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live. And the Lord your God will put all these curses on your foes, enemies who persecute you. And you shall again obey the voice of the Lord and keep all his commandments that I command you today. The Lord your God will make you abundantly prosperous in all the work of your hands, in the fruit of your womb, and in the fruit of your cattle, and in the fruit of your ground. For the Lord will take delight in prospering you. And he took delight in your fathers, as he took delight in your fathers, when you obey the voice of the Lord your God to keep his commandments and his statutes that are written in this book of law, when you turn to your Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. For this commandment that I command you today is not too hard for you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven that you should say, who will ascend to heaven for us and bring to us that we may hear it and do it. Neither is it beyond the sea that you should say, who will go over the sea for us and bring it to us that we may hear it and do it. But the word is very near you. It is in your mouth. It is in your heart, so that you can do it. See, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I command you today, by loving the Lord your God, by walking in his ways, and by keeping his commandments and his statutes and his rules, that you shall live and multiply, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land that you are entering to take possession of it. But if your heart turns away and you will not hear but are drawn away to worship other gods and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall surely perish. You shall not live in the land that you are going over the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore, choose life, that you and your offspring may live, loving your God, the Lord your God, obeying his voice and holding fast to him. For he is your life and length of days, that you may dwell in the land that the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them. Deuteronomy 30 is what we're looking at. And one piece in here, it says, if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I command you today, by loving the Lord your God, by walking in his ways, and by keeping his commandments and his statutes and his rules, that you shall live and multiply, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land that you are entering to take possession of it. So through this, it's, God talking to his people, them sharing of following the rules, following the statutes, the commandments, what it is that they need to be doing to deal with life every day. We all have those that we need to do that, right? You go to work, there are rules you need to follow. You go home, there's rules we need to follow. Just being in life every day, there are rules, laws that we need to follow. so we're not getting in trouble and doing things. Well, as we make our way through this, we need to remember. I mean, the bottom line is when we're looking at this, we're looking at the repentance, the forgiveness. God saying, follow my rules, follow my commandments, follow my laws, and you will be forgiven. A lot of times we are dealing with life every day, kind of trying to figure out what it is that we need to do, where we need to go. And a lot of times, how many times have you heard this? It's better to ask forgiveness than permission. Because sometimes you're trying to get something done, you're not able to get answers. And I know sometimes it moves very slow. And that can be a good thing, but then on the flip side, it can also be bad. It's depending on what you're doing and how you're trying to deal with a certain situation. And these are things that as you are dealing with people with wisdom, with knowledge, that understand, that know when you're trying to get things done. Sometimes we are dealing in a world that things just move like molasses. That's the certain truth, isn't it? Trying to get things taken care of. I mean, we see that in government every day because the law has to be presented, then has to be approved. I mean, it's just, it takes time for things to get done. Sometimes we see that they can move things a little faster than maybe they should be as well. See, this is that piece that we need to figure out. What is that right way? I'm not saying there is a right way, and I'm not saying there is a wrong way when it comes to these things, but we do need to be cautious. We do need to be careful, and we do need to be sure that we are following the steps that need to be taken care of. I mean, again, you're dealing with stuff every day, and there are steps that need to be followed to take care of what we're doing, what is going to be done. I've been watching a show lately, kind of with this whole, we're in the fall and waiting for new shows to start up, but nothing's really coming out yet because of the strike that's happening in Hollywood. So not a lot of new shows right now. There's a few, but not a lot. So I'm kind of going back and catching up on some that I never watched before, but I'm kind of following. I'm doing one now. It's called Scorpion. Before that, I was dealing with the X-Files because all that paranormal and alien stuff, right? Yeah, it's a meeting I had yesterday. I talk about how I can be the biggest conspiracy theorist you'll ever know. And if there's not one, I'll come up with one, right? I should be off in some bunker in the middle of Colorado, right? Like, was it George Norrie? Hide away, do a live radio show from the vast space of nowhere, right? Okay. So with this one, you're dealing with a group of geniuses, and then those that are not, that are trying to figure out how they can deal with life every day, how they can really have those conversations, because a lot of times they can be antisocial. They don't mix well with people. I mean, I know that feeling, and I'm by far not a genius, but I can have that because I'm not always the best at mixing well with people. That's right. I maybe a little bit of antisocial behavior. The older I get, I'm finding that it's getting worse. Not as much as when I was younger, but I've always been awkward. And social skills was nothing that I really developed well growing up. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, we all see that. I mean, by watching that, I see things that I had to deal with growing up as a kid that a lot of others have done the same. And I've shared it before, from the bullying to being the last one picked, left out of things, not really having a lot of really good or really close friends, or the friends one day and then bullies the next. It was rough. But we all have those stories that we can always share and we can talk about. But the thing is, when you're trying to deal with that, how are you following forward? How are you dealing with these situations? Are you going against the grain? Are you going against the rules to try and figure out that way to how it can be done? Or are you maybe holding things a little truer to do? I kind of know by my mind this is right, even though everyone else is doing something wrong. And then a lot of times by even doing that, you could speak things to people that could offend them. I mean, truth offends, and not even when you try to. And again, it's all about how you give that presentation, all about how you share that information with others. Are you a very strong matter-of-fact person and it just comes off very coarse, or or someone that can give those blows a little softer, right? We deal with this every day. Again, we have just what we have to deal with. I kind of feel a little lost because again, I'm not saying that there can be a right or a wrong, but it's trying to figure out that balance to deal with life every day. That balance on how you are dealing with people at work. I have conversation with friends all the time that are really struggling and stressed because of how things are being done or not being done. I mean, we all have those coworkers that are pretty lazy. They're not really wanting to do anything, or they just want to do what they want to do and nothing else. I deal with that even in the new position that I'm in compared to, even where I've worked before. I mean, you always have that. And I'm sure there's times that I even follow into it too, where I will procrastinate certain things. That's something I really am not comfortable with or really know how to deal with that. I'll figure it out, but I will push that. That one kind of gets pushed more to the bottom of the to-do list than other things that I'm a little more comfortable with and things that I kind of know how to get done, and those get taken care of a little quicker. But how are we kind of turning this into our ways of accepting other people by kind of helping them along? Someone who maybe they're not following the rules the way they should be. They're not doing something the way it maybe needs to be done, which that's why you see, especially in manufacturing, the quality assurance to make sure the thing that they are building is coming out with quality. That's why you have, even with coding, when it comes to programming, to make sure there's not bugs and flaws in that before that app is released, the website's released. Again, everything kind of has its place as you push your way through, and you have certain statutes and rules that you need to follow to make sure you're not doing something wrong or getting things in trouble. And when you do that, again, are you kind of admitting that you messed up? Are you admitting that you did wrong and you're trying to correct and to kind of keep pushing forward? Or are you one that just kind of hides it? You did it, but then you're going to point your finger at somebody else and say, no, it was them. It wasn't me. Yeah, I know a lot of people that are that way. I've said this a lot because there are mistakes that I've made all along over the years, and I'm not saying that I won't mess up again, but I will. And this is where it shows that I'm probably not the best people person sometimes, because I can be pretty much to the point. And I would share things about how something would need to be done, and then some would take it wrong, thinking that I'm very arrogant or I'm a know-it-all or this, however you want to describe that, fill in the blank for yourself. But as I would then follow it up, I would say, I'm not saying this because I know more than you. I'm not saying this because I'm better than you. I'm saying this because I'm the one that's made the mistake. I'm the one that will probably make the mistake again. And I'm just trying to help you to not make that same mistake. Actually making it to where you could be better than I am. You can be, more to the point than I am and getting things done the way that they should be. Yeah, it's a weird way to do it, right? But again, when we're helping and supporting others, it's helping them to be better as we're also growing to be better. And sometimes we can help them to even be better than we are, and they kind of maybe move up that ladder quicker than we do. But that's okay, because we're trying to help them be the best that they can be, as we ourselves are also trying to be the best that we can be, right? I've shared it many times, stealing these ideas from me growing up in the 80s, the Air Force and aim high, be all that you can be in the Army. Remember those? Those of us of a certain age. But there's some point to that because we have to have that goal. We have to have that vision. Where are we going to? Where are we aiming? What's that next step that we're getting to? Again, you're never really going to get to that line because we're running through this marathon of life, and it will always go. It'll never really finish until we pass away, until we die, or at least till we retire. Once you retire, depending on what you do, then not really a lot of goals, at least not goals when it comes to your professional side of life. But there still can be those personal goals that you're still trying to do, even into the age of retirement. But these are things that we learn as we're younger. That's why we're trying to help our kids and those that we're mentoring to help them understand how to deal with life and to move through life. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And sometimes it feels like there's lots of rules, lots of commandments, lots of statutes that we have to go by. I mean, I know being, even coming from media, radio, and the FCC, lots of rules, lots of statutes that you have to be careful that you're not, stepping over the line. If you're even in a for-profit and banking, lots of rules that you have to follow. Nonprofits, lots of rules that need to be followed so you don't lose your nonprofit status. To keep everything going, to keep where you are, and making sure those are done. Your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Again, not easy by any means. Not easy. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to get any easier. We just have to figure out the best way that we can roll through that and keep pressing forward to be the best that we can be, to do the best that we can do, right? Deuteronomy 30. That's what we looked at today. How can it help you be that better person tomorrow? Being better tomorrow than you are today, being better today than we were yesterday, learning something. Learning something new every day, always trying to gain some kind of knowledge, some kind of understanding to be able to do things better. That's all what we're doing, just making ourselves better. Always learning, constantly learning. I mean, who was it? If I remember right, this could be getting it wrong, but was it Thomas Jefferson who was in his 70s and was still taking classes in college, still learning, always wanting to really learn, to really understand things, to be that better person, right? Deuteronomy 30, be sure to check that out. How can it help you, right? Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, you can always share it on social media. Always appreciate that, as well as giving a rating on the platform that you're listening. Follow me on social media, too. You can find me in all the big fancy ones. Now I'll get it right, X. X and Facebook and Threads and Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. All those. You can always find me at My Buddy Jimmy, as well as mybuddyjimmy.com. A lot of the things that I share every day, getting things kind of on a roll for myself to get myself back on track, to kind of get things going, get things back of what I need to be working on and focusing on a little bit, which is good, which is going to help me and going to help those around me as well. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road, and thank you for a lot of the comments, the things that I see. I mean, I just share things a lot, and it just, I really am always shocked by those that share or favorite or, whatever the platform is that you use, that they do something with that. And it feels good. It's something that I never really expected, right? Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.
Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com.
If you're looking for help with software, app, web development, be sure to check out my friends at ingenuitycompany.com. They believe in their clients. Software development, app development, web development, visioning, design thinking, diagramming, organizational development, strategy. They can help you at the Ingenuity Company. Find out more at ingenuitycompany.com.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.